Hello everyone, this is the LEGO Star Wars Buildable Darth Maul large action figure at last. And at first glance, at least, for a non-armored, humanoid, non-helmeted figure, this one looks really good. The proportions are pretty good. Maybe the ankles aren't so good, maybe the feet are a little bit generic, but overall, this looks like it's trying to look real. I'd say as good as any of the best of the figures that they've done to date with this style, with this building system. So it's off to a good start. One of the most important things is certainly the shaping of the head, and I feel like this one is closer to a realistic replica of the actor, of Ray Park, than other figureheads of this style in this series that LEGO has done in the past. It's still not 100% intended to be exactly the shape. They still have some stylization that they do with some harder chines around the cheek and cheekbone. You can actually see some lines that follow along the side of the temples here, and then it kind of cuts in, comes out fairly sharply. A lot of the actual mold lines in there, or molded in lines, are sharper than realistic, but I feel like the overall shape is just so much closer to real humanoid than anything they've done up to this point. Also, that head is, I believe, triple molded, so 3 different colors of plastic rather than just relying on prints. So you get the red plastic, you get the black plastic, and you also get the tan plastic. So 100% saturation for those colors to the exact standard values that we expect. You don't have to worry about tan being painted on top of black and then ending up looking a little bit muted, or red being put on top of black, or black being put on top of red, or anything. It just gives you the full exact color that you want to see for all of those major areas. They do have print on there as well. They do have paint applications, but just a lot of it is done with actual plastic, which is fantastic. You can't ask for anything better than that. Also notice the neck. He has a collar here. This is a new piece that they've slotted in here. It's kind of just sat in place, and it's specifically designed and molded to fit over the top of the upper body, what would be armor piece or torso piece, and the rear one. So it just completely goes over those two. It's a very specialized piece that is only designed to work right there in that specific application, and it works great. It looks so good, in my opinion. It really helps to fill in that space and to make it not look like this figure has a detached head that's kind of floating in the air. And you do still get some range of motion. You can rock the head side to side. Of course, you can turn it around. Now, it's not able to turn quite as far as you might like. At least it's not able to turn quite as far as they normally do. Normally you can basically just spin the entire head all the way around, but with no gap, or almost no gap under there, I wouldn't expect it to have the unrealistic range that they normally do. This one is a little bit limited in going down, in actually angling the head down. That's one little bit of disappointment for me. It's able to angle back just fine, but you're able to get a fair range in there, especially turning from side to side. So I think a fair compromise. When I was putting this together, the arms baffled me because they are built with a bunch of Technic pieces and joints that I did not expect. Rather than doing a ball joint for the elbow, they have just the ability to rotate the forearm back and forth, like from side to side, which is just so strange and unexpected. You can't bring the elbow up and down. I mean, there's a little bit of looseness in there right now, but they don't allow extension and flexing, at the elbow joint itself. It's only able to go side to side, and that didn't make sense until I got it completely assembled, the entire figure all the way together, and I tried out the action feature. It's the most live they've ever made one of these large action figures look. And it's a motion that they've never done before. And it's really good, in my opinion. You don't even need to get it lined up just perfectly. You can have these have the hands offset slightly different from side to side. You can also have the relative placement of the shoulders, which do have ball joints on them, set up a little bit differently. And with the free motion that they have in the elbow joints, it's still able to smoothly swing side to side using both blades equally. That's just really good. Let me see if I can get that to actually angle a little bit forward, see if I can get it to actually break the system to not work. But no, look at that. He's able to get more of a forward swing. It's still an upward swing with that left blade, but it still works compared to, well, I mean, you can see how it kind of, no matter what, will come fairly close to a level point along the swing. But I just want to see if I could do something particularly weird with it, maybe a more defensive. Nope, still able to work. This is really, really good. So it has the action feature for kids to play with, but it also has good looks and an interesting build. Does rely on some specialized pieces with these parts here. I mean, you can use these for other things as well, but you know, the new collar piece is specialized, but most of the center core build of this is your traditional, by now traditional CCBS stuff. You know, they've added some new parts to the system over time. This is the weakest part right here, I still believe, just down at the ankles, but you know, all of your leg articulation is as normal, so nothing unexpected there. And these all have enough friction to hold most poses. Let's see if I can get the the kick there. There we go. Something like that. You know, it's able to hold some strange poses just fine, and it's pretty good. It's pretty good. The only thing that's a little bit weird about this to me is how far the action feature knob on the back sticks out. See how far it comes out? But at least they didn't do it with a bright red color or bright yellow colored part, so it's trying to fit in. It's trying to not look bad. It's just a nice compromise between a bunch of things. It's still a toy, but it's more displayable, and also at the same time I think more fun for older kids like myself to actually enjoy it and to appreciate the motion features. Or if you just want to pose it, then go ahead and pose it however you want. They're not really limiting what you can do. You're only limited by how you can line up the hands as far as where you can actually place those blades. And of course you can separate it at the center. You see that there's a little bit of looseness here in the center of the hilt. That's just because they have the gray frictionless or low friction pins to allow it to flex when it's using the action feature. I really can't complain. Sorry I don't have a young Obi-Wan figure assembled to show you for scale, but this should give you more of a general idea of how it compares to Vader, who is basically a one-off. He really towers over most of the figures and is larger than all of them except for Grievous, who is, you know, just much wider and has more bulk overall. But Boba Fett is closer to a normal size. I really like Darth Maul, and I feel like they needed to do a Darth Maul figure well. There was a very high risk of them messing that up, and that would have been a real shame to me personally. But I feel like instead they actually did better than I ever thought they could, or would or could, with that mechanism that they've set up there. That is just really good. And then the way the head is shaped, and also the little insert piece to help with the neck with realism, it's really, really good. The weak point is down here at this time, but I wouldn't be surprised to see them come up with a new piece in the next year or so to help with that as well. Overall, I'm very satisfied with this, very pleased, and just pleasantly surprised all the way across. That's it for the video then. Thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you again soon.